So Orlando shot across Dre?
He leaned over on the window, we rolled down the window, popped.
Why did he make those comments? What was he given to make those comments?
In an explosive twist to the iconic two-pack Shakur saga, Diddy's former bodyguard Gene Deal recently came forward on the art of dialogue, shedding light on allegations that have rattled the world of celebrity news. He convincingly argues with a blend of passion and evidence that D's narrative, a story told and retold for over 3 decades, is far from the truth. It's unequivocally that Orlando did not do the shooting. Such a bold statement was bound to send shockwaves, especially when it is corrupt. Buoyed by recent details unearthed from none other than Suge Knight and an anonymous tipster during the Diddy trial, while we'll delve deeper into Knight's testimonies soon, let us first dissect Deal's rationale.
It's unequivocally that Orlando did not do the shooting.
Looming large in the renewed debate is the recently disclosed narrative that contradicts the established story of Orlando's involvement in Shakur's shooting. The former bodyguard relayed how an unnamed source dropped the bombshell, pointing at Big Dre, not Orlando, as the pivotal player on that ill-fated night.
He said that Big Dre, he was about 400 pounds, so Orlando, he couldn't get a clear shot if he leaned over Big Dre.
Emphasizing Big Daw's massive stature, a good 400 pounds. According to the source, Deal communicated the informant's belief. Orlando, simply put, couldn't have shot over such a towering presence.
Police showing this diagram Friday with Orlando Anderson, Davis's nephew, and DeAndre Smith in the back seat.
From the bodyguard's recounting, it's evident that the timing and intent behind this jaw-dropping claim warrant scrutiny. Was the informant after legal reprieve, or was personal vengeance the driving force? It's all up in the air, more so when some counter this by referencing Dre's real weight. Perhaps a lighter 34,360 lb. Deal's relayed account prompts the question, could Orlando have shot from a different angle?
He knows who he going to get a gun to do the work. It ain't going to be no ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Delving deeper, based on the interview, it appears D's earlier assertions, documented in his book and endorsed by author Greg Kading, don't quite hold up. The described scene where Diddy allegedly attempted but failed to hand off the weapon to Dre seems inconsistent with his known persona. Decisive shot caller Deal highlighted the curious fact that when Diddy pointed the finger, Big Dre and Antonio Brownson were still among the living, whereas Orlando wasn't. Is this a case of conveniently accusing the defenseless?
Maybe he was in trouble with the law, or he had did something, and he came forth and gave that information.
From what Deal shared, Las Vegas authorities have their perspective locked in Orlando. Wasn't the gunman they suggest Orlando could have been elsewhere, maybe at a casino, a bar, or even seeking medical attention when Shakur was attacked. The evidence, like the bullet casing trajectories in Orlando then injured arm, further complicates the narrative. He had a dislocated arm. And what does this shooting hand a nut? While the air is thick with skepticism over D's version, especially concerning Dre's alleged non-involvement, Deal's interview has ushered in audacious theories. Might Big Dre have been the one pulling the trigger? Amidst the whirlwind of debate, one thing seems steadfast in Las Vegas officials' view. As Deal pointed out, they are convinced Orlando wasn't the man with the gun. Overarching evidence and testimonials seem to converge in a direction divergent from the narrative that's been fed to the public for years. A game-changing interview was given by Marion Sue Knight to TMZ on October 3, 2023, from behind surprise number 1. Because I didn't think never get arrested. Not only did he stand firmly against testifying against Dwayne D. Davis, but he also reiterated a stance that seemed to resonate with Deal's claim there was only 2 people in the car, and Tupac's not going to be able to tell the story. I ain't going to tell the story, Knight disclosed. He emphasized once again that Orlando wasn't the assailant, he wasn't the shooter, even though he refrained from pointing fingers. It was only 2 people in the car, and Pac's not going to tell the story. I ain't going to tell the story, but I tell you this, and I never had nothing bad to say about Orlando, because number 1, he wasn't a shooter. Number 2, he came to my hearing and told and let me go and tell the truth. This new revelation about Knight's perspective is particularly noteworthy. He was, after all, the one driving the car in which Shakur was fatally shot. It's hardly a leap to presume that if anyone had insights or a credible viewpoint on the crime, it would be him. But why did Suge Knight choose to stay silent for so long? Perhaps there's a multitude of reasons: loyalty, fear, or even just the unpredictable dynamics of the rap industry during those tumultuous times. If he had an involvement with anything, if he didn't have any involvement with anything who want to see, I wouldn't wish somebody go to prison on my worst enemy. It is startling to think that the man beside Shakur on that nightmarish evening remains Tom. Lee, even after so many years, Knight and Davis, both surviving witnesses of the incident, share a deeper bond than what meets the eye. As Knight recalls, they played on the same football team in their youth. Their camaraderie might explain Knight's reluctance to testify against Davis. I wouldn't wish someone going to prison on my worst enemy. Knight voiced out, signaling an underlying respect, or perhaps a shared history that he's unwilling to betray. To summarize, you are saying Orlando was not the show owner. Although won't say who the shooter was in light of the latest arrests, the meticulous details about that night have become even more pertinent. Surveillance footage has shown Shakur, Knight, and their crew getting into an altercation with members of the Southside Compton CP in the hotel, and Chino vicinity. Davis and his nephew Orlando were part of this ensemble. The layers of complexity and connections only deepen the enigma surrounding Shakur's demise. You will not comply, you will not testify, do it. Have that right percent, I wouldn't go. I went testified. None of Neen's past is no stranger to controversy. His tumultuous journey includes allegations, court trials, and incarceration. The shadows of his history at death row records, including disputes over its control frame, a backdrop to the very incident in question. Was the drive-by shooting intended for Knight? And does it tie back to the strife within the record label that saw the likes of rap giants like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg? The case has witnessed its fate. Our share of curveballs, with Davis admitting in his 2019 memoir Compton Street Legend to being in the car from which the shots were fired, and even implicating Anderson, the late Orlando. In the process, the threads of truth have become even harder to untangle. The weight of this confession intensifies, considering that out of the original group involved in the shooting, Davis remains the last living member. For Shakur's family and fans, the past may never be genuinely laid to rest. Moim Shakur's elder brother there seemed to encapsulate this lingering quest for closure in his words to TMSA. Keep your popcorn, we're still waiting for things to unfold. The universe's working piece is still here in the final analysis. The myriad of voices, speculations, and unearthed testimonies present a costly APIC view of Tupac Shakur's tragic end. The revelations brought forward by Sue Knight and Gan Deal certainly cast shadows of doubt on the once accepted narrative, yet the pivotal question remains: will the real truth ever emerge, or will it be forever enshrouded in the mysteries of that fateful September night? I hope the Vegas Police Department do their due diligence and get down to the bottom of it. For those seeking answers, the crux of the matter comes down to motives and dynamics that played out in the tumultuous hip-hop arena of the 9S. When peeling back the layers of this convoluted narrative, it's essential to ponder why Key D might have maintained his story with unwavering consistency over the years. Historic alley misinformation, whether intentional or otherwise, serves as a mask, often a strategic smokescreen, to divert attention, protect oneself or others, given the perilous world of gang affiliations and the intertwined relationships of those involved. Could it be that Key D had more to lose by telling the truth? A prevailing hypothesis suggests Key D had vested interests. Maybe it was to divert law enforcement scrutiny from the real culprits. Perhaps it was the age-old strategy of using the deceased like Orlando as scapegoats since they couldn't defend themselves. One might recall the words of Jay-Z in the Black Album when he professed, "Believe half of what you see, none of what you hear." It's possible that the accounts of that night are a reflection of this sentiment. Furthermore, it begs the question of why Suge Knight, an insider privy to intricate details, chose to merely hint at the truth without openly revealing the shooter's identity. It might be a manifestation of the age-old street code: snitches get stitches. Alluding to a New York Times piece from 2001, Knight was quoted saying, "There's no place in my heart for a snitch, and there never will be." While he did go against the narrative of Orlando being the shooter, his refusal to identify the actual gunman could stem from his desire to protect his legacy and reputation, or perhaps it's a bid to protect others within his circle. And then there's the broader picture. This isn't just about an altercation gone horribly wrong. It's about an era where P-Hop was plagued with East-West rivalries, vendettas, and the simmering tensions between record labels' reputations, egos, and vast sums of money, where at stake a slight misstep or an ill-spoken word could have lethal consequences. However, amidst this quagmire of conjectures and testimonies, the underlying essence remains. A brilliant artist was snatched away in his prime, leaving behind a legacy that continues to resonate. And while the quest for the unvarnished truth persists, one cannot help but wonder if the revelations of Deal and Night merely add to the lore or bring us a step closer to closure as we wade through these murkier waters. It's worth remembering Shaker's own words: reality is wrong, dreams are for real. Perhaps therein lies the lesson as the world grapples with the real versus the perceived in the heart-wrenching tale of Tupac Shakur. But how does the public perceive these revelations? As always, the impassioned fan base has been fervent in their responses. Take, for instance, a fan who confidently remarked, "Gene is speaking facts as usual. And for the record, this is exactly how I always saw it." This statement underscores a segment of the audience who have long been skeptical of the narrative, feeling vindicated by Deal's revelations. They believe that the testimonials now being unveiled are echoing what they've suspected all along. Then there's another delving into the specifics of the shooting, who noted anybody who has shot a gun in compromised positions will tell you it wasn't Orlando. The bullet pattern was not from someone leaning over a 300B man while just having his dislocated shoulder put back in place 2 hours ago. From these comments, there isn't an unwavering consensus. While some rally behind Deal's revelations as irrefutable evidence, others dissect the details of the shooting to form their judgments. What remains clear is the intensity of the fans' emotions and their profound connection to Shakur and his legacy. As we sift through these divergent viewpoints, it's evident that Shakur's enigmatic demise continues to be a hotbed for discussion, theories, and impassioned debate. Do you believe in Deal's latest revelations about Shakur's tragic end? Or is it just another twist in the tale? And if it wasn't Orlando who pulled the trigger, dive into the debate and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights might just be the missing piece in this puzzle. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious and see you next time. Keep the legacy alive.